So starting, we're on! Hey everybody! Welcome to our Biblio Squad live show for the Crown's Fate, Fable and Sky! Hey! I didn't take a breath before saying that, guys.
Starting off quality.
I was like, and... yeah,
Starting off, guys.
A great reminder is to take a breath before I do the intro every single time. If you want to use, if you want to join the discussion, if you want to use the discussion, if you want to join the discussion on Twitter, we are #FateSquad, so you can just join us on Twitter, or you can comment on this video and just discuss with us, because, oh boy, we have so much to discuss about this amazing book, and the awesomeness within this world. So guys, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hi guys, my name is Kathleen and my channel is For the Love of Books, and I was the first one to finish reading this book for once. I'm usually like the last one, and I'm so happy. This book was really good. It's a duology, so we loved The Crown's Game when we read it together back in December, and this book, so we decided to make this book our next book, and I loved it. I loved how it ended. I kind of saw some of the things like towards the end coming, but I definitely like how she concluded the story and how she made it almost like open-ended, so perhaps she'll write more stuff in the world, but I did like how it ended and how everything kind of had a nice wrap up to it, but I definitely really like this book.
Hi, my name is Nina. I'm from the channel Demigods Are Dauntless, and I also really enjoyed this book. I finished it about 20 minutes ago because I'm excellent at procrastinating, and I think I would give it like a 4.5 stars, but I really need to let it like sit for a little bit longer to like really decide, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't quite like it as much as the first one because Nikolai wasn't quite like that's him. But yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, I did still really enjoy it. And yeah, I liked that it was a duology and it's kind of wrapped up now. So it didn't follow that like traditional trilogy format. But yeah.
Hang on, I'm chewing. I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Jules from the channel Jules Reads, and I just finished this about an hour ago because I was on a 10-hour trip to South Carolina, and I'm here now, and it's really cool. And I'm giving it about a 4.5 stars. I just updated my Goodreads like 10 minutes ago, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about it and excited to hear everyone's opinions about everything.
And I'm G-Swizz from the channel G-Swizzel Books. And yes, you bet I took a breath before I said that. Okay, wow, that's, this is a really horrible joke we need.
You're running joke now.
Okay, yeah, so, The Crown's Fate. So it was so funny because, people were getting this off of NetGalley, and on, Goodreads, I saw too many 1-star reviews to begin with, like back in April or March, and I was so scared, very scared, going to this book. I was like, what? Like, people actually do not like the sequel? Did he do something very bad? Like, what is happening? And so I went into this book scared. In fact, I wanted this book to be the Blue Squad book for, was it June? Yeah, I think we wanted to have it for June, and then we just decided to do a Twitter poll, and then we did Flame in the Mist instead because that one on Twitter apparently, and then we did this for July because we still wanted to talk about it. I mean, we doing The Crown's Game, the first book, was kind of like a high point in our Biblio squad thing that we do every once a month. Our live shows. It was one of the best live shows we've had, one of the best discussions we had. So we wanted to kind of keep that going with the series. And I feel like it's a series that we've kind of like really bonded over. And so, yeah, like to read it together was great. And yeah, I was scared when I read it, but overall, I don't regret reading it at all because I actually enjoyed it. I think it's currently stands at a 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5. I don't know. It's like around that area for me. But yeah, definitely up to 4 out of 5. I don't know whether I like this one better than the first one, to be honest, because the first one I just had so many great feelings towards, and Nikolai is they. And yeah, this book really broke my heart in so many ways, but it was definitely worth the read. Yeah. So speaking of the Twitter poll, let's talk about the Twitter poll that we did. Who voted The Crown's Fate again? Anybody?
I don't remember.
Me and you.
Okay, so it was definitely Nina and myself that voted The Crown's Fate.
Yeah, because we were split on it. So
Okay, so we were split. We were completely split on last month, like in the live show as well, which was very interesting. Like it made for a very interesting live show as well. So to see the opposite side of that, but like we still all love the book this time. Like we're not like completely divided over it. I like that. I really like that. It's really cool. Kind of makes it more interesting. I don't know. Maybe just
I voted for Flame in the Mist, but mostly because I wanted to read Flame in the Mist first, and I was still gonna read The Crown's Fate whether we were gonna do it as a group or not. But I just wanted to read that first because it was so hyped up, and I just wanted to know like what's the big deal about it. And it turns out I like this book better. So
yeah. Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to add for that at all?
I don't know.
not really. I think that we liked this one better, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we did like this one better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. It's really cool that we're all standing together liking the same book again. But yeah.
Back on track.
Yeah, we're back. So popular question that I always ask in the live shows has to do with the expectations. Were they high? Were they low? And most importantly, were they met? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like everyone else. I don't know how I feel about it. I really, really like this book, but I don't know like if it met my expectations or not. I didn't hear anything about it, like the bad reviews. I actually didn't even look into reviews at all for this book. I was going to read it regardless because I really liked the first book, and so I didn't find out any about the bad reviews or ratings or whatever. But I don't know. I guess it met my expectations. I don't know. I was expecting it to be good, and it was good. So, but I don't know how I feel. I still don't know whether I like this book more than the first one or not. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I definitely liked this one more than the first one. And going into this one, I had decently high expectations because I really liked the first one and was expecting to like this one better because I thought that it would like, since I'm more in the world now and I know the characters, it would be easier to love this book. But again, like we'll get into this later, but I think not having regular Nikolai around kind of didn't make me love it as much. But other than that, I didn't really look at the reviews going in.
yeah.
I didn't look at the reviews either. I mean, Grace had told us about the bad reviews type thing, but I completely forgot. Knowing myself, I completely forgot it. I just was just reminded of it, and so I didn't really reviews. I don't normally do that when it comes to books unless my mom, like, she gets her entertainment magazine. She goes, "Oh, this book got good reviews. Oh, this book got bad reviews," and that's basically how I get my book reviews. But my expectations, they were pretty met, like they were kind of like a little bit lower than the Crown's Game because like the sequels always tend to be like worse than the first one, but this was actually pretty good. My expectations were met, and
Yeah, as I was saying before, low expectations because of really, really interesting reviews. I think there isn't like, I was on Goodreads a lot during the time. What was that? What was that?
Were people being haters, or was it like actually legit?
It wasn't haters, meaning like they didn't read the book.
Okay.
Because they would have like the title, like, I was sent this book in exchange for an honest review, either by HarperCollins, who were the publishers, or by NetGalley, and they would just tear it down. And like every once in a while, I get a really good review. Like I remember going to the press screening for A Monster Calls. I met someone. I met an Australian reviewer, and she was like in the middle of reading it. I'm just like, oh, that's like that's the Biblio Squad book pick of the month. Well, I told her about our book club and stuff, and she's like, oh my gosh, it's like so much better than the first one so far. I'm like, ooh, interesting. So like it was very interesting because like some people really did enjoy this one better than the first one, whereas there were a lot of people that were very disappointed. And I feel like, I don't know, like I feel like this is a very polarized book in the series. Like, it's very interesting to hear so many people's different perspectives on it, because there's so many people that adore the second book, whereas there's so many people that absolutely hate on it so much. So going into this, I had very balanced expectations. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see these characters again. I'm really excited to see these characters again because I'm craving just seeing these characters, like just reading about these characters again, just being immersed within this world. That's what I was craving. And so like I started this book before the booktubeathon, like a bit of it, because I needed a taste of it again. Like I just waited so long. Like I did my waiting, lol.
But I did time in prison.
Yeah. But to say that my expectations were met, I guess you can say yes, because I had very low expectations and I did end up really enjoying this book. I don't know if I expected anything else of it. I mean, I really wanted one character to die, Ileana. But other than that, I really wanted her to die so much. I at least wanted them to go into a route where she became the evil person, so they would have an excuse to kill her off. You know what? I'm really bad. Like that's G-Swizz, like evil Kermit within me. Yeah. So, oh yeah, I meant to bring up the next point. No, lol. Okay, so I think we already talked about rating. So, did anybody not mention what they rated the book?
Oh, I didn't. I gave it like a 4 stars currently. I'm probably going to change it to like 4.5. Depending on if my thoughts change or not. Because again, I just updated Goodreads like 20 minutes ago. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, 4.5-ish. Still in flux though.
Still debating.
Yeah, still debating whether it's 4 or 4.5 for me personally. Yeah. And I mentioned, oh, okay. So let's talk about how it compared to the first, meaning like, what did you like about the first that wasn't in this book, or what did you like about the second that probably wasn't in the first? Does anybody have any at all?
You know, for me, I think I'm leaning more towards liking the first book, and mostly because we saw the nice side of Nikolai. And don't get me wrong, he was still kind of nice, but he had like, I just fell in love with Nikolai, who he was in the first book. He's a gentleman, and he always puts others before him. And even though he came from a bad situation, you know, he talks about like his childhood and stuff like that. I feel like he never felt sorry for himself. He was someone who made the most of his situation. Like he in the first book, he said that he used to go and do labor for other people in order to raise money to do the things that he wanted to do. But when he talked about it, he never felt sorry for himself. He never made us pity him and stuff like that. And I liked who he was in the first. And then in the second book, I feel like he was using those excuses in order to give an excuse as to why he's trying to overthrow Pasha. And in the first book, he always said that he didn't want, even when he found out that he's the son of the Tsar, he didn't want Pasha's position. He never wanted it, even when his mother said that she could help him do it. And it was only through his mother's bad influence that it corrupted him, and it made him want something that he he never wanted in the first place. So I think I like the first book mostly because of Nikolai, who he was in the first book, and he was such a good person, but he was a genuinely good person. Like, there was not something bad within. There's like, he's the type of person who doesn't have a bad bone in him, and he's so genuinely good. And I think that's why, for me, I'm leaning towards more liking the first book, and that's something that I really missed about the second book. And I get that him being bad in the second book kind of is what drove the story and what the plot line is, but I really wanted Nikolai back, and I kept waiting for the moment when he was gonna like see that this is not who he is, and I kept waiting for that Nikolai from the first book to come back. So that's something that I missed from this book.
Yeah,
definitely.
I feel like you summed it up perfectly. Like,
Yeah.
I felt the same way, where I really liked Nikolai in the first book, and I loved getting to know him. And it really frustrated me in the second book not having like good Nikolai, I guess, and like him being the main villain of the story. Like, it was really frustrating because I wanted to see the older him, but at the same time I totally get why Evelyn Sky went in that direction, and it made sense from a plot standpoint. And it's like I was still intrigued in the story and wanted to know where it was going and why he was doing things he was doing. So I definitely respect her decision, but I liked it quite as much as the first book.
Yeah, I really missed good Nikolai. I think that's what everyone missed about the first book that wasn't in the second book. And like, if you just check my Twitter, it's literally just like, Nikolai, stop, Nikolai, stop, Nikolai, stop. Yeah, I know. And so I was just like constantly, I was like, oh my gosh, baby, like, why would you do this? But like, when people were like, oh, there might be a plot, because, you know, like, Evelyn Sky so far has done a few plot twists, so I thought, like, there was going to be a plot twist where Vika, like, when she got her powers taken away, that she was going to join him. Like, I was, like, really scared for that, because I was like, not Vika 2, not Vika 2. And
yeah.
thank God she didn't. Like, you know, like, I'm glad she really didn't do that. Yeah, no, I just missed Nikolai, and I missed, like, the whole, kind of, like, more, because in the first book, Nikolai and Vika had, like, a really special bond through their magic and just through their experiences that they both shared, but had, like, different views on it, I guess. And I just, like, I really missed that relationship that they had. I didn't even just, like, it wasn't just Nikolai. I missed all the relationships that he had, that with Pasha, with Galina, with Vika, with everybody. So just the good old Nikolai stuff.
Yeah.
How did
Sorry, what was
I was just say, how did you guys think of or feel about Renata and like her? Because like, yeah, that reminded, because not only did his relationship with Vika change, but also like with Renata and how like she approached the situation of him, I guess, being evil, and how like I liked that she was there for him, but it also took her a while to come around.
So,
to like,
you know,
realizing that it wasn't really him.
So angry when they kissed. So angry.
I think that, you know, if Evelyn Sky decides to write another book, I think it would be good to touch upon Renata, because she does have these powers that she never had before, where she can change people's fates.
It'll be about Renata if she does ever write.
Yeah,
something.
I think it'll be fun if she writes like a novella with Renata, but I don't know how I feel about Renata. Like, one side of me is like, girl, you need to like move on. He does not love you. And then the other, like, it feels bad for her because she's so friend zoned, and I just like, I feel pity for her, and she knows that she's on a friend zone, and she just continues to pursue him, and I can't.
Oh, why do that?
So I don't know if I want to feel pity for her or if I want to just be frustrated with her, and I just can't.
I had like
so when reading this, if anybody knows me very well, I think I like fogged up if anybody knows me very well, like when I read The Crown's Game, I hated Renata, right? I could not see from her perspective. I wanted her to go away. Reading this in the midst of like heartbreak. I got friend zoned last Saturday, and I got told like, you know, like by somebody I really care about, right? And this is the first time I actually saw from her perspective, and I felt sorry for her because I went through the same thing that she did. And so every single time I read about Renata, I'm just like, Renata, he doesn't care about you. You need to leave. Renata, this time I'm saying it because I care about you. And I never cared about her before. It was so funny. So like I feel like that's what made my reading experience a lot more funny in a way, because like I knew what that was like. I could relate, especially in this time. So yeah.
I had like 3 different point of views on Renata. Like one time, like when she was kissing Nikolai, I was like, you stay away from my precious child. Do not taint his relationship with Vika. Do not taint it. Do not touch it. And then like when she got like kind of like like when it was like, oh, but he could never love her. He wished he could. And I was like, oh, honey, I feel so bad for you.
Yeah, I read that line. It's like,
and then when
her.
she found out she could like do the tea leaves, I was like, yes, queen, go, do your thing. You can do it. Triumph. That was like kind of like my 3 feelings that just like swirled. It was just a merry-go-round of love, hate, go queen.
I think that it would be really interesting if Evelyn Sky did do a spin-off for Renata. I mean, I didn't really care at first, but now I think it would be
now that she has powers, I feel like she'd be a lot more interesting.
Yeah. But like
also maybe I'm sorry.
I was thinking
I was just
yeah. We both have like one foot in the door and one foot out. So funny.
You go, then I will go.
Okay. I was just saying, like, it would be interesting if we'd have some novellas in this world as well, because it's not fully closed off. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I would like maybe in the future, if she does write a novella about Renata, I'd like to see her maybe become friends with Pasha, because you know, like they both kind of went through the same thing, you know, like being friend zoned by someone they've loved. So maybe I'd like to see them like kind of like bond over it.
That's
like,
beautiful.
Complete the circle of like the love
like
triangles.
complete the circle, become friends, like like his I don't know, royal predictor. Like if it said like, oh, you're gonna die today, she could just change it. You know, like I don't know. I feel like they would be a really like fun friendship though. I feel like they both would. I don't know. I feel like they'd both get along very well.
Both deserve to be happy in some sort of way. Whether
they do.
Never with somebody or just having a friend. They just need to be happy. Yeah.
And Pasha, like, he's such a, like, I liked his character development in this book. Remember in the first book, he did not want to be Tsar by any means whatsoever. He wanted his freedom, and he didn't want to be followed by his, you know, his guards. He just wants to do what he wants to do. And then towards the end of the book, he even says that now that I'm close to losing the throne, now I want it. And I like that he grew up, even though it took, you know, betrayal of his best friend, whatever, and his guards to really point out the obvious that he does want the tsardom, he does want this position, and he is prepared for it. And, you know, he's such a good guy. He's honestly a nice guy. And I feel like him being on the throne, especially because his sister is such a mean person sometimes, I feel like she balances him out. And I feel like he was very good for the throne. And I like that he eventually realized, you know, I'm the right person to be on the throne. Yeah. And I really liked his character development. And I do feel like he deserves a happy ending, even if he doesn't get Vika that he wants so much. I feel like if she were to write another book, I want him to have his happy ending with someone.
Yeah, definitely. Pasha deserves to be happy for sure. Am I the only one that was like very frustrated at the fact that like Vika didn't? I don't know if she like had feelings for Nikolai all along, but like I feel like that I kept on thinking that was all that Nikolai needed to break free. He's like, yeah, but she still doesn't say that she loves me. And I'm just like, no, this is so frustrating. Like, it was just like,
I know, like, when it, like,
just
in
say
the
that
dream,
you love him.
the dream, in, like, the dream world, when she visited him, he was like, oh, she only came for pasta. She doesn't care about me.
Yeah.
Like, maybe she just doesn't want to admit it. Like,
Yeah.
But it's also like,
broken. She's
if she had said
grief-stricken.
something
Like,
else.
Yeah.
feel.
I kind of
Give
miss
her, like,
having.
a month.
Yeah.
Just
I
give
kind
her
of miss.
feeling.
Yeah. I kind of miss her having a father figure in this one.
Like, if she had gone
well,
with a different, like,
don't even
sentence or two
start.
at the beginning, it would have completely changed the entire book. Or, like,
Yeah.
possibly.
Yeah, he would have been like, V, don't do that. And she would have been like, you can't tell me what to do. And he'd be like, and then 3 seconds later, she goes, I did the thing. He goes, what did I tell you? It probably
Yeah.
would have been a shorter book, now that I realized, if Sergey was there.
Yeah.
If, like, Sergey and Galina were, like, still there mentoring each other, it would have been just zip. Would have
I
been
really liked that line between them too, actually. Like, I liked Sergey and Galina, like, their plot line in the first book a lot.
Mhm.
I feel like it made it a whole lot more interesting to see from both their perspectives. But yeah, we couldn't get that in this book because it's like completely different. Like, one's dead, and then one.
And then, what do you do? Another one's dead.
Essentially die,
Yeah, whoop, no one's dead, but they're going about their business. All right, Renata, and yeah, but like I find it very interesting. I find Nikolai's mom in this book to be very interesting, because although she's evil, she's still driven by the fact that she loves Nikolai and she'll protect him with everything she has. And so you can kind of see from her perspective, really does care about Nikolai, and she's not just doing this for power. I mean, I'm not saying that she's redeemable, no, but it's a very interesting dynamic, and I think that's what makes a very good villain, because they think that what they're doing is right. What they're doing for their family, they think that they're doing it, like, they have the right motive behind it, but really, yeah, it's not redeemable, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like she had a good backstory that made you kind of feel for her as well.
Yeah.
She killed Tsar, like, you kind of felt like, maybe he kind of did deserve it. Like, not in that way, and, like, obviously she's done so many horrible things since then, but, like, you do somewhat see her side, which is always what helps make that good villain.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting how, like, the relationship between Nikolai and his mom, I always forget how to pronounce her name. I even forget her name.
I don't know.
Ilyana. It starts with an I. I know that.
Oh, wait.
AI?
It starts with an A. It's A-I-Z, and then Hana.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Hana?
How it's pronounced in the book. Like, it was interesting how, like, quickly the relations changed. My mom's texting me. Okay. Hang on. I will continue my thoughts. I have to let my family into the house.
Awesome. Sweet. Hold that thought for a second. But yeah.
You guys on my trip.
Okay. I'm trying to think of some other differences as well. I mean, like,
What?
Hope you're enjoying this extra scenery, viewers of the live show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't read it.
Hi.
We bring a live show to
We're
you.
doing good. We're live now.
Oh, Nina. As you were saying, Jules?
Okay, back to what I was saying. I was like, the relationship between Nikolai and his mom, like, went from, like, 100 to 0 real quick, like, once she confessed that. Yeah. Like, you know, she
had done all those things. Like, she subtly forced him to, like, siphon off her energy. And he was like, wait, hold up a second. And he goes, wow, you really are a terrible person. I just realized that now.
But it's so funny. It went from 0 to 100 to 100 to 0. Like, he didn't like her in the first book at all, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, I think it's just out of desperation as well. It was
also because he made him siphon off her energy, so it was kind of like that part as well.
Yeah, so like I kind of understood why he suddenly started caring about her, because he had like her energy in him and that was kind of controlling him. But when she was like right before she died and she started confessing like, oh yeah, I killed Galena and I did all this stuff, I felt like that to be a moment where he kind of stood back and you kind of saw the goodness in him and he was gonna be surprised by that and kind of feel for Galena, but at the same time, but instead he just ended up like shutting down and like not caring about her and throwing her aside and not really mourning Galena at all, which I found kind of surprising. But I guess he ended up just having his full redemption at the end. But I was kind of expecting like a mini, like, here's a glimmer of hope to see that he still has good in him and then go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if it would be anybody else, though, then I think that Nikolai would actually care. Like, let's be real. With Galena, like, after all the things that she's, you know, like, after the way that she's treated him, pretty much the only reason why, well, the big reason why she trained him up is because of her brother, you know? And, yeah, like, I feel like that didn't really, the death of her wouldn't really pack the full punch, especially because she didn't really care less for him. Like, she couldn't care less for him in that way.
Yeah.
So if it would be anybody else, like, I think if she would have even killed Renata, I think that he would slowly snapped out of it, you know?
Yeah, it would have taken him, like, realizing my mother just killed, like, one of my best friends through childhood.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I totally thought that she was going to kill Renata, actually, and that would be the motivation.
I was like when she was asking Renata for her help, I was like, you stay away from Renata, okay? She's been hurt. You leave her alone.
Yeah. Oh boy, yeah. I that's the first she was actually the first person that I thought that was going to be killed in this. Yeah, it turns out she wasn't. And Vika just like let Nikolai free. Like, do you remember that scene where she
like the alligator.
Like, she just let him free. I'm just like, okay, like you could see her feelings at that point, if that makes sense. Like, you could see that her intention is not to you know, trap him up, and like, it's not her intention is not Juliana's intention. If that makes sense. So like, you could see that. I could really see that in that scene. So.
Mm-hmm.
But so as opposed to the first book, I could see, so in the first book, I could see from Juliana's perspective, I could see why she cared about keeping the kingdom, or the Tsardom, the way that it was, and like, you know, keeping it traditional, making sure that everything's, you know, going well, because like, that's what she did. Like, she's that type of person. She's she studied, like,
more role oriented.
She's very oriented. Yeah, exactly. And she's very on top of things, and her brother lacks in that, like, in the first book. But then in the second book, like, it wasn't just the fact that she's very traditional in her approach. She's just a very bad influence as well. And
I kind of learned that in the book too, though, when she was like, order the end of the game.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah. I mean, you could see you could really see her motivations there, but like, in this book, she was just like, I was done with her. I was ready for her to be the evil person and them killing her. Like, that was what I actually wanted, and it shouldn't have been that way. But yeah, I wanted her to be dead.
Me too.
Yeah. Did anybody else have anything to talk about as opposed to the first book at all? Oh, Vika. I just realized.
Oh.
So Vika had a I feel like she had a very different approach in this book. Like she was a lot more sassy in the first book,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and then in this book she was very
Cool.
She was withdrawn. She was, like, it was like 2 weeks after the events of the first book, so she was like still kind of like in her stuck zone. She was like still kind of, like upset about everything. Like she had just lost her father figure. She had just lost the possible love of her life. She and the guy that she may have wanted to marry like condemned either one of their deaths, and like it was just a lot to take in. So I understand like why she was kind of more withdrawn.
yeah. A lot of people, I think that's a big critique that a lot of people have with this book. Like her and Nikolai's character completely different in this book, and they're like, oh, that's like completely out of character. But then you've got to realize that one of them kind of died last week or 2 weeks.
Anti-death.
Yeah.
Like not really, but like
That
Anti-die.
character a lot.
anti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she thought he was dead. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's understandable if the characters are not within character, or like I feel like, it's a side of a character that we haven't seen, and also, yeah, Baba kind of died, and so
Yeah.
you have to deal with the grief,
He has
and then also
reason.
the weight on her shoulders now, and the
Yeah.
last thing she kind of wants to be is the Imperial Chanter, but she takes it on as a responsibility anyway. And you can see how strong Vika is doing that. I don't know how I would do it if I was experiencing that kind of grief. So I think she did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't any other characters to talk about? No? Okay. Oh, yeah. My next point is character development anyway. So, character development, anybody? Yeah, Pasha. That's definitely a character that has developed. I feel like I think I like his character development the best.
Yeah. Like he understood like from the minute the minute the second book start, he realized what he did was a mistake. He realized he hurt Vika, he hurt Nikolai, he did all these terrible things, and like he started to try to like reach out to Vika and apologize, and she was like, and then the bracelet thing happened, and he was kind of like, what?
Yeah, it was so funny because like Vika seemed like she couldn't forgive him at all, and then I think when Nikolai made an appearance and was just about to kill Pasha or something like that, she was so easy to defend him, and he's just like, oh, you're so easy at forgiving. I'm just like, see, she forgave him, but just like she didn't say it outright, but like you could see that. But then again, like she was there for his orders anyway, like that's what she was there for. She's there to protect him anyway. But Vika knows what's right, and I think that's what I really liked about this book as well. Like even though there are some things that she didn't want to do, some things were right.
Like if that happened to me, if Vika, I would have literally just not accepted. I would have quit because I wouldn't be able to stand, taking orders from the guy who just condemned like my one true love to death. Like I wouldn't want to, like take orders from him or even be near him. And she was.
I don't think she can't. She could have quit. Like I'm sure she wanted to.
No, I think she tried.
Yeah.
And then when they
like,
magic.
But like even
when they banned all
magic,
magic, they had no choice.
Like a scene where it was like during the part when she wasn't allowed to use her magic, and then she still had this moment where she was like, yeah, still mad at Pasha, but at the same time it's like I still want to help Russia and I still want to do what's right. And I was like really impressed with that. I was like, go you, like you still have your moral compass. Like
I like that I like that even though she had all these reasons to quit or to be upset with Pasha or to be mad at him, she never lost sight of what was right. And she always knew that Nikolai being Tsar, whether he how the method of how he was going to do it, and the fact that he wanted to be czar, it was wrong because she knew him and she knew that he does not want to be czar, and that Pasha was the right person. I like that the fact that she didn't let her feelings get in the way of that. I mean, obviously she was still mad at Pasha, and she showed it plenty of times throughout the book, but I really I really like her character for not losing sight of what was right, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Because ultimately, it was her who brought back Nikolai. Like, through her almost death, it was her who brought back Nikolai, so.
Yeah, like, once the cannonball hit, like, Nikolai was like, oh my gosh, I screwed up. I messed up everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hear that where it's just like, in this moment, he realized he effed up.
Yeah.
It was just like that meme
That
should have just
moment.
played.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out who else's character developed. I mean,
I was gonna say Renata.
yeah. Not off. I mean, after
Like, I know you hate her, Grace, but I like the very brief character development of Juliana at the end.
Juliana,
She was like, you love her, so I love her too. Remember that one line at the end?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. I was like, that's so.
I did.
I was like, wow, that's so surprising. Thank you, Juliana.
I was like, you hate
wow,
her this entire
the
book,
whole
and only when she's dying do you like her.
But no, it was really annoying because, like, the way that she talked to Vika and treated her, I mean, like, it was literally in the first or second chapter. Like, she just treated her so, and she was the Imperial Enchanter. Like, she has a position of power now, and she just talks.
Not just a lonely
sister, but
like, she went from that to, like, you know, because you love her, I love her. I'm just like, thanks.
Thanks for making, like, you tried to make me like.
Tried. It didn't work. I mean, it was a heartwarming moment. It was definitely a heartwarming moment for me, but, like, I wish I could
her,
and I forgive her, but, like, I don't know if that was enough for me to forgive her. If she would have did something else, yeah, I think
maybe if she tried to give her life force, like, if she, like, really, like, did give her life force to Vika.
Yeah.
Like, if she really did do that, like, I would have forgiven her.
Yeah.
Or she, like, you know, was, like, able to do something instead of just, like, offering out her wrist. I mean, she did try to save Vika, so that was good.
Yeah. I just
but, like, feel like if she did do more, I would have liked her I would have, like, forgiven her completely. She's, like, at 50% right now.
Yeah, she's 50%.
50%.
50% likable.
It's not quite there yet. She's at 50%.
We rate really bad people.
Guys, if I ever get Tinder, that's gonna be if I ever get Tinder, that's gonna be my Tinder bio. Just only half likable.
I was thinking of something. This is, like, so random, guys, and this is so cringeworthy, but yesterday night I was thinking of a slogan for, like, my I don't know, my booktube bio or, like, my Twitter bio, and then all of a sudden it came up into my head. I'm trademarking this, okay? Like, I put the Uber and booktuber.
I like that.
I'm trademarking it. No one take it from me. You can't take it from me. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I like that though.
You gotta put the little trademark sign.
Yeah,
put the trademark. Otherwise, it doesn't count.
Yeah. But yeah, that was anyway, that was, like, completely random. We've got, like, 15 minutes left. But yeah, so
it was funny. It's a good slogan.
Yeah, it was definitely a good slogan. And, you know, at 50%. 50%.
Only 50%.
Only 50%.
It may be good enough.
Wait, what?
It's also gonna be my new Finsta bio. Only 50% likable, but maybe it's good for you. good enough for you.
Good enough for you. Yeah, if you're settling for
Maybe
like a
that's
very
good enough.
guy, maybe that's good for you. Yeah, I mean, so like this book was very interesting when it came to its characters. Like, yeah. I mean, I hated the fact that I hated Juliana more than I hated Aisana at times. But yeah. Because I kept on having this theory that she was the real villain.
Oh no, I
don't
did
have that
think
theory.
that for very like towards the
Sorry,
very
what's that?
beginning. Towards the very beginning, when they were talking about how like Nikolai was only like his father's a czar, but his mother isn't, and like then Pasha is also like 50%, or like they're both not legitimate.
Yeah.
And then Juliana was like looking through the letters. At first, I thought she was gonna like
Take the
make
crown.
a claim for the throne over
Yeah.
her brother, but I'm glad it didn't go in that direction. Like I liked it better that she was like searching to make sure and like support him. So
Yeah.
I actually
right there.
afraid that was going to happen as well.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
she came around.
I mean, like, how are you that driven to run a Zardom and not be power hungry at the same time? Like, I didn't get that. And so that's why I was concerned that she might might take a chance at stealing the throne from her brother.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, 2 brothers.
That's not cool.
Both are brothers.
I know, it ain't cool. Yeah. So that was my theory, and it never happened. So
Whew.
yeah, I mean,
Dodged a bullet.
like, I think that it's kind of a missed opportunity, because I think it would have made the plot interesting, but it's okay. Like, I'm not bitter about it.
Not a bit. Like, I'm like half and half. I'm glad it didn't happen because, you know, like, kind of like Pasha needs a family person. Pasha needs a family member in
Yeah.
order to like get through his Zardom. But then again, that would have been really cool to see that.
He's got 2 family members now, which is cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
At the
Mhm.
same time, I
I
don't
feel
think
like with his
Yeah, I
whole
don't
all
think
guards betraying him, I feel like that's what she tried to make. I don't know. I'm kind of glad she didn't go that route because she already did with you know, like his most trusted guard. What is that guy's name? Whatever. The one that always finds him.
Whatever.
The fact that he betrayed him, it's kind of like it's already a slap to the face. So I'm glad that his sister did it. I'm glad that his sister was always on his side. So even though she was really mean to Vika and always like sometimes really unfair, but I'm glad that she was always on his side, and she never had that motivation to want to become like Czar herself or something.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm glad that that's the case. I'm just saying, like, it would be interesting if that did happen.
Yeah, it would have definitely been interesting. And if she had like made the book series longer, I could see I would have liked her to pursue that route because it would have been really cool.
Like,
yeah, if it was a book series.
If it was like a
that would
trilogy or quartet or longer than that, you know, like she
Yeah,
could have just that character development for Juliana to be towards that.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I even
feel
think that cool enough to make a very good first part of a duology though. So like I think that Evelyn Sky's intentions to make this a duology was very smart because both books have a very good amount of content in them. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion.
It's true.
Yeah, and the way the story was structured and broken up, I think worked perfectly for duology.
Oh yes, definitely.
Also, like sometimes authors like drag things out just to make it a trilogy because trilogies like
I think that
series, you sell more books, get paid more. And so they drag everything out and they add unnecessary things, but Evelyn Sky didn't do that, and I'm like she just literally condensed everything. She had just enough actual action, she had just enough randomness, she had like just enough of everything to actually make it like worth reading but still like super short and able to be like read, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Three Dark Crowns. Has anybody heard about that?
No. I hate
Because
that
Kathleen
book.
has feelings on that
Do
book.
you guys hear my?
Going to be extended
You guys
from a duology
What?
to not a trilogy to a quartet.
No!
Quartet.
No! It's
That's
such a
bold
bad
move.
book.
How do you expand? How do you expand something that was a duology to be a quartet? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like,
Have you guys read
Don't
Three
know.
I haven't even read Three Dark Crowns, right? But the reason why I wanted to read it was because it was going to be a duology. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll get through this. I'll get, you know, and Red Queen, it was a similar situation, but they extended it by one book. So it was understandable. But how do you, as a publishing company, take a risk and extend something that was from a very small series to something big? Like, for example, An Ember in the Ashes, they took a very big risk from extending that from a standalone to a quartet.
Yes, but the first
Yeah.
book left it open. Like the first book, if she would have ended like that, because Ember and the Ashes is my favorite I've read so far this year. If she ended like that, I would have been so mad. I'll be
But
like,
see,
no.
like, to have a sequel to a first book makes sense. But like to extend it to not even a trilogy, but to a quartet, I think that's kind of, that might be asking a bit too much. But yeah, so like I feel like in both cases, it's kind of like a big ask.
When did you find us out about Three Dark Crowns?
I think so. Super Space Chick. Do you know Super Space Chick? Does anybody watch her?
I've heard of her
channel. Yeah, so she does this monthly like bookish news thing, and she announced. She said like, you know, she gives like everybody the announcements, and she says so. She said that Three Dark Crowns is going to be extended from a duology to. Yeah, so that's kind of given me more reason not to want to read it. Especially because like you know how it's gonna go down. Like it's one of those books that has those premises of like fight to the death and stuff. But like for that to be extended to 4 books instead of 2, when the first book kind of like builds up to the main event or something like that. Yeah, that's kind of like a big reason why I don't know if I'm going to read it or not. But yeah, so at least they didn't take that big risk with this book, or this big series. That's like,
true.
But then again, it is open up to sequels. And I feel like if I want a sequel to any series, like, or like if I want more to any series, this series is the one that deserves it the most, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does have capabilities for expansion. It does have, you know, like all this, like, you know, like everyone knows about magic now. So maybe we could do like, you know, like Pasha and whoever's son or daughter, like maybe having magic powers and could be the Imperial Enchanter, but they're also in line for the throne. Like maybe that could be like a plot or something. And just, it has like so many expansions versus like Red Queen, like, oh, like what are you gonna do after the entire 4 books, because like everything's wrapped up, it seems, anyways, because they extended it, so it's got to be wrapped up. Better be.
Well, they only extended it by 1 book, so I'm not that mad about it, to be honest. I am still gonna read the last book, but oh my goodness, when you said Pavel, and when I read Pavel in there, I was just like reminded, Pavel, not Pablo.
That was like
that was probably one of our best hashtags. That was probably like
Definitely our best.
And I love how the thumbnail ended up.
being
The thumbnail was perfect.
It was perfect. Oh my.
I still have those screenshots. It was so funny. But yeah. So I think we'll just if you guys don't know about the whole Pavel not Pablo hashtag, if you want to, and if you've read the book Empress of a Thousand Skies, we did a live show on that, and there was a character named Pavel, like a cute little robot, I think, named Pavel. And I accidentally called him Pablo, and I said it like super, like too much confidence. And I didn't even realize it was wrong for the longest time. And then the girls were just like, his name is Pavel, and I'm like, Oh my gosh, I messed up. Like, it's at that moment I knew I effed up.
And
But
then the thumbnail ended up being a really funny picture. She was just like,
yeah, it's just like a straight face, like, yeah, it was really funny.
like when you remember it's level about Pablo.
So to kind of like close this off, the conclusion, the end of it all, are you guys satisfied? Satisfied or nah?
Yeah, I like it.
Satisfied,
I think it was.
satisfied for now.
I think it ended well.
Yeah, I think it
like
tied
with
up
them-
nicely.
Go ahead.
No, you can go. Sorry.
I was gonna say I like that in the end. I like that Vika and Nikolai shared the title of Imperial Enchanter. I kind of like that aspect of the ending. So
You like my speaker, Sarah? Sorry, my aunt's playing with my Bluetooth speaker. But no, little child. I was satisfied with the ending. You know, like I'm satisfied if it ends there, but you know, I'm always open to more. Evelyn Sky, please. I'm always open to more. I will happily read it, no matter what character it's on, as long as it's not either on Juliana. I'm good. I barely stand a chapter from her perspective because everything, like her thought process was so mean about everything.
No.
And I was just,
How could you be so heartless?
I can't stand an entire book with just that amount of snarkiness and meanness. So like the occasional thing, I'm like, yes, go, but the entire thing can get annoying.
Yeah.
Well, it's playing music. I'm sorry, this gets copyrighted.
Oh yeah. Careful with that. Anybody
I'll turn
else?
my audio off.
Basically it.
Anyone else?
I guess I liked how I think it did a really good job of kind of bringing everyone back to, like, yeah, everyone got their happy ending. Everything was wrapped up pretty nicely, as we discussed.
the
Like,
one thing that was missing was like a reunion, like a lovey reunion between Vika and Nikolai. I was like expecting like some kind of like at least a hug or something. I don't know, anything. And no, it didn't happen. I'm like, I was
I
kind
do
of
think it could have been like,
that area, but
She's like, you need to come back because Pasha. I'm just like, stop, Pasha.
All right, I'm back.
I do think it could have been like
This
few
is holy
pages
shit
longer.
right here. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
okay. Sorry, talking to my aunt. What were we talking about?
We were just talking about how so we're talking about like if we're satisfied or not, and Kathleen brought up the like if they're what was it? What were their names again? Vika and Nikolai's reunion like was
There was no really reunion, like a romantic reunion between the two of them in the end.
and then she's like, oh, you should come back because Pasha needs you. Just like, no, stop, Pasha. just in that moment. Just
She
leave
didn't say
in the moment.
She didn't say I love you. Pasha would be dead.
Yeah.
She didn't say I love you.
That's
Would have been
True. Yeah. Overall, I guess I'm satisfied, but like Jules said, I am also open to anything else that Evelyn Sky puts out there. Like, you know, a good novella, The Wedding.
Yes.
I want their wedding. I'd live for their wedding.
I need the proposal. I need wedding dress shopping. And I need the wedding.
See, this is what I love about Evelyn Sky's writing. Like, her settings are the best. And so her to even write, you know, Vika going dress shopping, like, that would just be so beautiful because, like, I can feel Russia
like,
every single time I read.
Like, I feel like Vika, like, painstakingly trying to make, like, the perfect wedding dress out of snow.
Yeah.
That would be
And like
such
all
a
the wedding
cute
decorations. Oh my
And
God.
then she's too lazy, so she actually goes to try to find a shop. She's like, I don't want to bother.
Can you imagine all the like magic like wedding decorations that Nikolai would probably put up, and like it would just be gorgeous.
Cute little present. like imagine like I feel like oh gosh, if like Vika like birds, like he would like make like little mechanical birds
Guys,
for her.
we're even
The
planning a wedding.
I'm ready.
We're
I'll
talking about
plan
the book anymore. We're talking about a fabricated wedding. This is what our lives have become.
I know. We're talking about a fictional wedding that,
Fantasizing a wedding. About
like, guys, are we gonna start making a fan fiction about this?
Grace, I will do this.
My first one.
Do you guys like legitimately want me to do this? Because I will.
I would read it. I would read it. Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be amazing.
I'll do it then. I'll do it for you, Grace.
Yeah. Let's conclude, everybody. So yeah, that was our live show for The Crown's Fate, and you can join us next time for Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. We are going to be reading it together. It might be significantly different because it's the UK cover, but it's shiny. It looks better in person. It looks weird on Goodreads. But yes, so this is what we're going to be reading. What are the dates again, guys?
26.
For 26?
August 26th.
August 26th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the 27th of August, Australian Eastern Daylight Saving. No, not Daylight Savings. It's not Daylight Savings. I'm so used to saying Daylight Savings when it's like long gone. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Yeah, so same time as today, just like 26th and 27th. So I'm really excited to read this one with you guys. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, I just need some sci-fi in my life. Yeah.
True.
But yeah, so that's for today.
Yeah.
So we're going to say bye, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for discussing with us. Bye!